You're in the game with NBC 25 Sports.
Good evening, I'm Corey Kopic. In East Lansing, everyone associated with the football team, from the athletic director, Mark Hollis, all the way down to the average fan, really wants to hit the reset button after last year. They finished in the top 3 for 3 straight seasons, and then the Spartans kind of just fell off the map last year, finishing 3-9. And today, the green and white game represented a glimpse of what 2017 holds for this team. Fans want to know who's going to be under center when the team kicks off against Bowling Green September 2nd. Well, looks like it's going to be this guy right here. Brian Lewerke had a solid opening drive culminating in a touchdown pass to Kyle Lucas for the 2-yard score. Second quarter, Lewerke, working from the shotgun, makes a mistake this time, overthrowing his receiver. The ball is going to end up in the awaiting arms of Austin Andrews, who has a convoy of blockers at his disposal. Andrews would get shoved out of bounds at about the 45-yard line. The white team wins it 33-23. Tom Eschen was in East Lansing.
Good evening from Spartan Stadium. The first and only time we've seen the Michigan State football team this spring, the team closing everything to the media, to the fans, until today because of the sexual assault investigation going on with 3 of its players, and 15 guys that are listed on the roster did not suit up in uniform. Today, Coach talked about that.
No, because we don't talk about injuries, and obviously we're not talking about any other suspensions.
And the problem is we don't know which guys are suspended for the sexual assault investigation, which are suspended for other reasons, and which were hurt today, something I hope we can learn as the weeks go on.
Yeah, you know, I'm not going to talk about the issues at hand, but, you know, when things happen negatively for a group of people, they normally bind together and they go forward. And that's what our football team has done, and that's what we've done every single practice throughout spring.
And this team is coming off a 3-9 season, one of their worst in years.
We're going to critique it, and we're going to try and change it and move forward. And we're going to recollect ourselves and go again. And then we're going to recollect ourselves and go again. But it's difficult to refine excellence.
As for the game itself, there were some good plays. It looked like the offense was a little bit more open than it usually has. The defense actually won with the scoring system they were doing. They made plays on both sides of the ball. There was a one-handed catch, and Coach Antonio made it interesting towards the end. He extended the time a little bit. He called a first down, overruled a couple penalties just to kind of make it a little more fun for the fans going down to the very last play, which the defense won on.
You know, I think we've come out every year to play in spring games and played hard. We've come out every day in practice, and we have taken a very workmanlike attitude towards it.
And of course, things will change once the incoming crop of freshmen come in summer camp. Reporting here from Spartan Stadium, I'm Tom Eschen.
Thank you, Tom. In women's college basketball, the Michigan Wolverines advanced to the title game in the NIT today, where they battled Georgia Tech, and it was the ultimate seesaw affair that went down at Detroit Mercy today. The game took 3 overtimes to determine the winner. Caitlin Flaherty and Hallie Tome combined for 52 points, leading the Wolverines to an 89-79 win in the championship game. There are only 5 regular season games remaining for the Detroit Red Wings. There were, anyway, at the beginning of the day. The team will not be in the playoffs for the first time in 25 years, and for many fans, the season cannot end soon enough. Tonight they played Toronto, with both teams playing for pride, and it was a hard-fought affair throughout. Second period, Wings are down 3-1. Nick Jensen can't get the first shot to go, but then he shovels the shot into the back of the net for his 4th goal of the season to make it a 3-2 game. Third period, same score, Henrik Zetterberg to Nick Kronwall for the game-tying goal, and we have ourselves a ball game. Kronwall's 2nd goal of the season. Same score moments later. The Leafs are buzzing. James Van Riemsdyk beating Jimmy Howard for the game winner. Toronto would add an empty netter to win the game 5-4. We'll be right back.
You're in the game with NBC 25 Sports.
Good evening, I'm Corey Kopic. To those in the know, Michigan is to college softball what a team like Florida State would be to college football. The Wolverines are always one of the teams expected to contend for a national championship, and this year is no different. Carol Hutchins' team is already over 30 games into the season, and they're once again ranked in the top 25. But while they've gotten the job done in years past with a powerful offense, this year it's the defense that's their calling card. Through 33 games, this team boasts a .981 fielding percent, which is tops in the Big Ten by a lot.
We've always worked hard on defense. I think that we've just gotten a little bit better every day of taking care of the ball, and that's something that we come out here every day and we say, just take care of the ball, throw to get outs, and that's something that we've been doing really well.
You know, in the back of our minds, just knowing that we might not be putting up the same numbers that we do offensively that we have in the past. So I think we really have focused on our defense and not letting anybody get any extra bases or, you know, really helping out our pitchers.
We work really hard on defense, and especially in the fall, we have long practices, getting everyone to, you know, click on the field. So I wasn't surprised. It's just we're doing what we have to do, and we got to keep doing that.
The team was in action today as they took on Northwestern with 6 consecutive shutouts thanks to Megan Betza, who punches at her 4th batter of the game. Michigan clinging to a 2-run lead at that point. Bottom of the inning, Faith Canfield thinks she has a home run, but it's determined that the runner at first base left early, so the run doesn't count. The score remains 3-0. Top of the 5th, here's that defense we talked about. Lindsay Montemarano making the catch as she crashes into the fence. Betza appreciates the extra effort. Top 7, Betza looking for the complete game shutout, and she fans Kenzie Ellis to end it. The Wolverines chalk up their 7th consecutive shutout as they beat Northwestern 4-0. You'll hear more from them on Swinging into Spring Wednesday at 7 o'clock on NBC 25. We have spring training coverage from Florida with the Tigers, high school baseball and softball, and Midwest League champion Great Lakes Loons, all getting you ready for baseball and softball season here in Michigan. Major League Baseball opened up the regular season earlier today. Yankees and Rays throughout the first pitch. In the bottom of the 2nd, Evan Longoria with a line drive that barely clears the wall. The Rays go on to win the game 7-3. You're asking yourself right now, what about the Tigers? Well, the Tigers don't open the season until tomorrow when they'll be in Chicago taking on the White Sox. Justin Verlander will toe the rubber, and he'll face Jose Quintana in a game that starts at 4:10. In hockey, the Red Wings dropped another game last night, falling to Toronto 5-4 at home. The loss keeps Detroit in 2nd to last place in the Eastern Conference standings, and that's a tough pill to swallow for this once proud franchise. But head coach Jeff Blashill says he's proud of the way his team has handled themselves all year.
I think the character of this team has continued to shine, to be dead honest with you. This isn't easy. I think your character's tested when times are tough, and I think this character's continued to shine. We got an unreal group of people in here. These are, again, not easy times, and our guys are coming through.
Wings are back on the ice tomorrow night when they play Ottawa at home. Game is scheduled for 7 o'clock. The best tennis players in the world didn't just wake up one day and start collecting championship trophies. They had to work at it. In this week's edition of Love 30, we have a potential #1 player who's just getting his feet wet. Or maybe it's just a leaky diaper.
Little Dima is just 3 years old. Maybe it's a little early to predict a future Grand Slam champion, but the little guy has certainly got some decent hand-eye coordination. Tennis fans around the world have been downloading this video from the USTA's Facebook page and giving their 2 cents of coaching advice. Some have said that Dima's a little young to be playing as much as he does. According to the USTA, he wants to play all the time, even between naps. But hey, if you got a natural talent, enjoy it, right? And yeah, I hate to admit it, his technique looks to be a lot better than mine.
Well, the big question, what will the weather be like for opening day for the Tigers at home? And next, Nick has a look at our forecast, so stay with us.
You're in the game with NBC 25 Sports.
Good evening, I'm Corey Kopic. Tom Eschen has the night off. Happy opening day! Or at least it was supposed to be anyway. Tigers fans broke out the big foam fingers, dusted off their cynicism, and plopped down in front of the television today looking to catch a first glimpse of Major League action in 5 months. Despite a lengthy introduction for both teams, the tarp never came off the field at Guaranteed Rate Field. Yes, that's what it's called, Guaranteed Rate Field. A rain delay lasting 2 hours. Major League officials called the game, postponing the start of the 2017 season 1 more day, much to the chagrin of many fans in mid-Michigan. The game has been rescheduled for tomorrow afternoon at 2:10. Justin Verlander and Jose Quintana will start for their respective teams. They're expecting rain tomorrow morning in Chicago, but right now the forecast says that should clear up by the afternoon, so cross your fingers, Tigers fans. Great Lakes Loons fans have happy memories from the last time they watched their team play as they took home their first ever Midwest League title. And now they're back to defend that title. Reporting today for the first time, 12 players, which is a lot for this team at this level, returned from last year's championship roster. The Loons will open up the season on Thursday when they take on Lansing, weather permitting, of course. There are quite a few players back from last year's group, as we mentioned. and this whole team at this point is just chomping at the bit to get the season underway.
Guys that were on that championship team last year, stepping up and kind of showing the new guys the way, and kind of embracing everything with them. And obviously I'm going to have some young guys step up.
It definitely feels good. You know, we got a lot of guys back that were here last year that have a lot of talent, and I think we got you know, a very good team, if not better than last year, so it's going to be fun.
For us last year, it was really important for us to represent not only the city, but like the people that supported us, so it's pretty cool to be back to a place like this.
We'll send Justin Mass to the mound, and he will be opposed by the Loons' Leo Crawford. We'll be there for live pregame coverage and postgame reaction as they try to win their first of a potential league title. Again, second league title, I should say. You'll hear more from them on Swinging into Spring Wednesday at 7 o'clock on NBC 25. We have spring training coverage from Florida with the Tigers, high school baseball and softball, and the Midwest League champion Great Lakes Loons, all getting ready for baseball and softball season here in Michigan. In the NHL, Red Wings head coach Jeff Blashill said over the weekend that he is very proud of the way his team has handled the adversity they've gone through this year. And he's right. With as miserable as this year has been, it would have been very easy for players to lash out at the media, point fingers, or even given a half-hearted effort, but that hasn't been the case. And at Joe Louis tonight, they played the Ottawa Senators for the last time in 2017. Rookie Evgeny Svechnikov making his NHL debut. A big day for him and his family. We're scoreless in the first period. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Good things happen when you hang out in front of the net. Franz Nielsen cashes in right here to give the Wings the early 1-0 lead. Later in the period, the Senators even the score. Alex Burrows with a shot over the glove of Peter Mrazek. That's his 14th of the season. We're all knotted up at 1. 5 minutes later, Dylan Larkin is going to pull a rabbit out of his hat. Now watch this. He backhands this shot by Craig Anderson, and it kind of leaves you a scratch in your head going, how did he do that? So we're going to slow this down a little bit and show you the replay. He actually flips the backhanded shot off of Anderson's back and into the net. A very savvy move for the youngster. The game would go into a shootout 7 rounds in. Here's that rookie we talked about, Svechnikov, beating Anderson with the backhand for the first goal of the shootout, but the Wings still need one more save from Peter Mrazek, and he stones Colin White. Detroit picks up 2 points with a thrilling 5-4 win.
First game in the NHL.
Really? Yes.
Yeah.
First game in the NHL. That's huge.
Memorable.
Yeah, take that puck home.
Awesome. Absolutely.
Put it in a case.
Keep it right now, yes.
Souvenirs are good.
There you go. Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Jamie's in with the last look at that forecast to tell you how much more rain is in store.
Good evening, I'm Corey Kopic in for Tom Eschen. 3 days into the Major League Baseball season, the Tigers had won the only game they played, and today they tried to make it 2 for 2 in Chicago. Matt Boyd drew the start this afternoon, and he gets some run support early in the game, and man, he needed it. Top of the second, Tyler Collins crushes this James Shields fastball deep to right center field. The solo shot, his first of the year. Tigers have a 1-0 lead. Bottom 2, Sox have runners at the corners. Jacob May lays down the bunt. Boyd fields it cleanly, but his throw home is off the mark. The run scores. Everyone advances. 1 base on the error. Bottom of the third, Boyd still in the game, and he just did not have his good stuff today. Giovanni Soto wraps this pitch around the foul pole and left. The 3-run homer puts Chicago on top 5-1, and the Tigers fall 11-2 today, and this isn't the start anyone wanted.
Well, you don't pitch well, you don't win baseball games. Simple as that. You know, I think Boyd was out of sync, had trouble commanding the fastball, breaking balls look flat.
You got to tip your cap. At the end of the day, we didn't hit, we didn't pitch, we didn't play very well. We didn't play good enough to win.
The Tigers will make their 2017 home debut tomorrow afternoon at Comerica Park, and once again, it's expected to be chilly outside. Oklahoma City native Michael Fulmer is penciled in as a starting pitcher, and he says pitching on opening day is a dream come true. The cold weather, however, is not something he's looking forward to.
I've never really, honestly, I've never thrown in that kind of temperature before. I think all my minor league seasons, I've played one season in Binghamton, New York, and I got up there in May, and it was already 80 degrees. So I'm just kind of going to adjust on the fly and, ask advice to all these veteran pitchers and see what they have to say for any tips and advice.
80 in Binghamton in May is pretty good, Michael.
It was very good. It was fantastic. I kind of wish it was colder. That way I learned how to throw in the cold, but it was a hot summer that year.
Yeah. Now you get the ball opening day in Detroit. What's that going to be like?
I don't know. I'm trying to keep my emotions in check, but I heard it's going to be one big party. So I'm stoked to do it. I'm honored to do it, and hopefully come out with a win.
The Tigers will throw out the first pitch tomorrow at 1:10, and we'll be there for the highlights and post-game reaction. To baseball players, Mother Nature is a fickle mistress, and thanks to some nasty weather, the Great Lakes Loons opening day has been postponed. This was the scene at Dow Diamond earlier this afternoon. Wind and freezing rain made playing the game unwise, according to those in charge. The game will be made up tomorrow as part of a doubleheader. The Midwest League Championship celebration was also rescheduled for Saturday, May 6th, prior to the game. Important to remember, a lot of the guys on the team grew up in warmer climates, and they're not used to this, including first-year manager Jeremy Rodriguez, who is a California native.
Talking to my fiance earlier today and my family, it's just, I'm like, hey, it's 34 degrees out here and snowing, or, with a light drizzle, and they're like, oh my gosh, and they're like outside, enjoying their Thursday. So
there's a bunch of California kids, there's a bunch of Florida kids, and guys from the Dominican Republic who aren't used to cold weather. And yeah, I've played baseball a good chunk of my life in snow and cold rain, so it's nothing new to me.
The gates open up at 3:30 tomorrow, and the game is scheduled to begin at 4 o'clock. In the NBA, after last night's loss to Toronto, the Pistons have now lost 10 of their last 12 games, and I'm not entirely sure that's not by design. Head coach Stan Van Gundy's team is now out of the playoff picture, but that doesn't mean he doesn't expect his team to stop competing.
First of all, it should be something that should just be a given every single night. I mean, we all get paid huge money to go out and play. I mean, yeah, I would expect, and I think everybody has every right to expect guys go out and play every night.
The Pistons are back at it tomorrow night when they take on Houston on the road. That game starts at 8 o'clock.
He's laying down the law there.
He is laying down the law. Yeah, it doesn't go over well with the players, but he's the coach.
He's the coach.
And the president.
We'll be back in just a little bit with some new information on the military action in Syria.
To our south tonight, it was a time to say goodbye. This time next year, the Detroit Pistons will be playing home games in downtown Detroit, and you've been reminiscing all day.
Yeah, a lot of great memories at the Palace. Our Corey Kopic, he joins us now from the Palace of Auburn Hills, where Piston fans are now reacting to their last game in that arena.
Let's go Pistons!
We're at Auburn Hills tonight, where the Detroit Pistons are playing their last game at the Palace at Auburn Hills ever before they move the team to Little Caesars Arena downtown next season. And we talked to several fans before the game started, several of whom showed up about 4 o'clock looking for autographs or just wanting to be the first people in line. And when I asked them about the move downtown, they actually seemed to take a very level-headed approach.
Strange, but I'm going to enjoy my new season because it's downtown.
Did you already get your tickets?
Oh, yeah, I already have my tickets for next season.
I'm kind of happy because they're moving into my city, so it's a great feeling.
I'm sad about that, I think the Pistons should stay here, and I don't know how they feel about it. I don't think they're happy about going back down to Detroit myself.
There's so many great memories that fans had to choose from here at the Palace, from the 80s Bad Boys to the hard work Pistons. And I asked these fans, what's your favorite memory from the Palace at Auburn Hills?
The most memorable one is when the Pistons had the big brawl with Indiana.
Sure, the Malice at the Palace.
Absolutely, the Bad Boys.
You were here for that?
Absolutely.
I was coming here with my dad since I was about 10 years old, and just before they did the fire coming up at the starting lineups, that's kind of what I missed a little bit.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg of the memories that they could have accessed, because so much has gone on here at the Palace at Auburn Hills. But the cool thing is, starting next season, they can start to make new memories at Little Caesars Arena. Reporting from Auburn Hills, I'm Corey Kopic.
You're in the game with NBC 25 Sports.
Good evening, I'm Corey Kopic in for Tom Eschen. Raise your hand if you knew the Tigers had the most wins in the American League. Most of you are probably sitting there in stunned silence, but it's true. The Tigers are actually off to a good start to the season. I can hear you right now, though, but it doesn't feel like it. The bullpen stinks. The offense has been inconsistent. Jordan Zimmerman's awful. All valid points, true, but the most important thing you need to win is starting pitching. And outside of 1 or 2 bad starts, this staff has been solid, if not spectacular at times. Take yesterday, for example. Matt Boyd, right there, took the mound in the rubber match against the team you'll probably be battling all season long in the AL Central, and all he did was shut down the Indians for 6 innings and give his team a chance to win.
It was definitely been games with better stuff, but we found a way to get it done. Very happy with the results. It was big, the score being 2-1 at the time. You don't want to let that tying run come across, and you want that guy, especially when you battle him. So it it was a big out.
The Tigers got a scary moment yesterday in the 8th inning when Miguel Cabrera was standing at second base at the time, called timeout, and met manager Brad Ausmus and the team trainer in the middle of the diamond before removing himself from the game with lower back stiffness. Ausmus said after the game that Miggy received treatment and that the team is treating this injury as a day-to-day situation. Cabrera will likely sit out tomorrow's game against Tampa Bay as a precautionary measure. The guys got the day off today, and man, they needed it after playing 11 straight days. They're down in Tampa tonight, resting up for the start of tomorrow's 3-game series against those pesky Rays. The starting pitching matchup once again favors the Tigers, who will send Rookie of the Year Michael Fulmer out against the Rays' Matt Andriese. Game time is set for 7:10. At the opposite end of the spectrum, you have the Great Lakes Loons. After winning their first ever Midwest League title, the team actually returned 6 players from that team, but they have limped out to a slow start to the 2017 season, dropping 7 of their first 10 games. Tonight, the boys started a 3-game series on the road against South Bend, and it was their night. The Loons win the game 5-4. First baseman Luis Paz homered for the Great Lakes Loons and drove in 2. Everybody in the starting lineup, with the exception of Mitchell Hansen, got a hit, and the bullpen was outstanding, limiting the Cubs to just 1 earned run in 6 innings pitched. Same 2 teams will lace them up tomorrow at 7:05. In the OHL, the Flint Firebirds bounced back this season to have a solid year, and more importantly, the organization seems to be on solid ground as they prepare for their 3rd season at the Dort Event Center. The credit for turning the organization around goes largely to George Burnett, whom the league appointed to take over as the general manager last season. But Burnett today announced he was taking his talents to Guelph, where he will take over as head coach and general manager of the Storm. Burnett is from the area, and it's a chance for him to move back closer to home, and he's earned it. In his place, the Firebirds have hired Barkley Branch. Branch has spent 17 years in major junior hockey, and he was most recently the GM of the Sudbury Wolves. The organization will introduce him to the media tomorrow, and we will be there to get to know the new head honcho. We'll finish things off with some girls soccer. Davison hosting Mount Pleasant on a chilly night at Davison High School tonight. First half, Cardinals are on the attack. Stephanie Ramoy beats the goaltender, but her angle to the net is just a little too steep, and she's a little off with the shot. We remain tied. Later in the half, Maddie Shirosky sets up Maddie Radcliffe, and she misses the little chip shot. The 2 teams go into the half tied, but the Oilers get 2 goals in the second half to win it 2-0.
Tigers' best record in baseball?
Yeah, well, not in baseball, but I mean, going into today, their 8 wins were the most. It was tied for the most in the American League.
Doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't. I hear a lot of Tigers fans complaining about things, and it's just like it could be much worse.
Oh, yes, it could.
It could be much worse.
It could be.
Yeah.
And we'll be right back with a look at your forecast. We'll see how bad that will get.
You're in the game with NBC 25 Sports.
Good evening, I'm Corey Kopic in for Tom Esch, and last night we watched as Matt Andriese, who's that guy, shut down the Tigers offense for 6 innings before handing it over to the Rays bullpen, who finished off the Tigers in a 5-1 loss. Today the offense was looking for some redemption, but that's easier said than done against the Rays ace, Chris Archer. Archer came into the game with an ERA of 2.21, but the Tigers figured him out a little bit tonight. Top 3, Miguel Cabrera at the dish with a runner at second base. Miggy rips the fastball into the gap in right center. Ian Kinsler speeds home, and the Tigers are on the board. Top 6, Jumbo Diaz in for the Rays. Bases are loaded. Nicholas Castellanos squares up the fastball. Kevin Kiermaier, the best defender in baseball, just whiffs on the line drive. Everybody comes in to score, and the Tigers go on top 7-6. Bottom 9, bases are loaded for Frankie Rodriguez. He gets the ground ball he needs to end the game on a double play, but Jose Iglesias just falls over, and the Tigers lose the game 8-7. I'll try and compose myself. It's time now for our Path to Greatness, connecting young athletes with their future goals. Montrose's Brooklyn Klopf is looking for her 2nd straight title in the shot put this year. But more so than any other person we've ever featured in this segment, her path has included more states, more schools, more stops, and more miles than anyone else. She's powering her way through life 1 throw at a time.
I was actually a sprinter, and then they had me come over and try throwing because they thought I'd be good at it, and I kind of fell in love with it then.
It's only through experiencing adversity that we grow as people. Some crumble under the weight of it, and some thrive. That's Brooklyn Klopf's story. She comes from a military family, and most people who've grown up in that situation all have one thing in common.
That I've been to a new school every year since kindergarten.
After moving 11 times in her life, this is her second year at Montrose High School. And while that kind of constant change would do a number on a lot of kids, in Brooklyn's case, she's found strength in the uncertainty.
Like the constant adjusting, I think, has helped me like learn new skills that many don't. Like I've learned to communicate better and just adjust, and it's been hard, but I think it helped me in the long run.
Succeeding in the shot put takes strength and power, but those things haven't come easily. Last year, she took up power lifting in order to help her become a better thrower, and in her first year of competition, she took home 3rd place at state. And after just 2 years of throwing the shot put, she won the state title with a throw of 40 feet 3 inches.
I'm the type of person that there's it's never enough, so I think there's definitely more to accomplish. Definitely this season, I'm not even close to where I want to be.
Her coach, Mike Stewart, has been instructing throwers for almost 30 years. And in Brooklyn, he sees a world of potential.
She's already hit 42-1 in practice, which I've been to 700 track meets. And other than a couple of girls that I've coached and the Division I state meet, I've never seen a 42-foot throw at a track meet.
Stewart was instrumental in helping Brooklyn accomplish another goal in her life as well. She'll be throwing for Central Michigan University starting next fall.
Mike helped me out with that a little bit because he knew the CMU coach, and then he got a hold of me and came and watched me practice, and I went up there for a visit and then went and stayed the night for an official visit, and I really liked the campus and the team.
When she's throwing, Brooklyn is in her element. You might assume that the strength and power on display comes from hours of dedication in the weight room and at practice, but you would be wrong. Brooklyn's power comes from within. It has guided her through all of the adversity life has to offer. That power to persevere and the strength to keep moving forward no matter what the odds will continue to take her down her path to greatness. At her track meet on Tuesday, Brooklyn broke the school record in the shot put again with a throw of 42 feet 5 inches. And the cherry on top of the sundae, she also broke the school record in the